In lab chemical reactions, you will observe a number of reactions, and then based on your observations, you will determine the products, mole ratios, and work on the reaction stoichiometry. Now, there are four common indications that a chemical reaction has taken place, which are these four. But to observe these changes, you have to make sure that first you observe the reactants before mixing them, and then observe what's happened during the reaction, and then look at your final mixture, which is your product as well. So if you see a solid forming, your solution, you see some chunks, you see, and solid particles, which is also known as precipitate forming. That's one of the indication of a chemical change. Your reaction mixture is no more transparent, it's opaque. If you see the formation of a gas, how do you see that? You see the bubbles. That's an indication of a chemical change. Temperature change is you touch the bottom of the test tube before mixing the reactants, and once you mix them and you stir the mixture and then you touch again, and if your test tube is warm, means there is or the test tube getting colder, then that's an indication of a temperature change, which is also an indication of a chemical change. And color change. Now, color change, you have to be a little bit careful with that. For example, if you're mixing two reactants and the color is just getting lighter, that's not an indication of a chemical change. So with the color change, you have to be very careful. It may or may not be an indication. So here is an example. This is not the part of your lab. So for example, we take this magnesium metal, is the spiral one here, and the hydrochloric acid, and hydrochloric acid is colorless. So look, we added these two into it, and then we are observing it, and then here I see a lot of bubbles. So if I see bubbles, that means yes, the chemical change has taken place. And so you write down that goes under observation. So since you observed a change, now that means the product is formed, and you write down a balanced chemical equation. It's not that always you mix two things, the reaction always takes place. No, it doesn't go that way. So you have to observe there should be some indicators to show that the chemical reaction has taken place. So once we did that, that means what's happening in this, that magnesium metal, which is the symbol here, reacting with hydrochloric acid to form magnesium chloride. Now, to write down the formula of magnesium chloride, you have to go back to your chapter 3, where you learned to write down the formula for the ionic compounds. Magnesium chloride is made up of magnesium and chlorine. Magnesium has 2+ charge, chlorine has 1 negative. You swap the numbers and the formula is MgCl2. And this H, this is a single replacement reaction. H is released as hydrogen gas. Remember, hydrogen in the nature exists in the diatomic form. Once you are done writing the molecular equation, then you write down the balanced molecular equation. A molecular equation, unbalanced molecular equation, has no meaning. So if the question is about write the molecular equation, that has to be chemical equation, that has to be balanced. So we just put 2 on the front here. So 2 hydrogens, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine. So equation is balanced. So what does this balanced equation tells me? That 1 mole of magnesium reacts with 2 moles of HCl to produce 1 mole of magnesium chloride and 1 mole of hydrogen gas. Now, once I have these moles, I can convert them into grams, which we learned in today's class. And I can also convert them into atoms or molecules by using the Avogadro's number. That's the stoichiometry. Then choose the best option. What kind of reaction is this? Is it combination, decomposition, single, double? So looking at the reaction, magnesium is replacing hydrogen from HCl. So this is a single replacement reaction, which is A plus BC gives AC plus B. Now, so based on this, what you're going to do, so here your lab 5 quiz, these are the 4 questions, first 4 questions of your lab 5 chemical reaction quiz. So the first reaction you are observing is reaction of iron with copper nitrate, copper 2 nitrate. So what happens here with copper nitrate is this blue color solution, and this iron here, we take this iron wool which is gray in color, we observe it, and after some time we see that here there are some chunks of brown material here. So based on this observation, you first going to write down here what evidence. It should be the one of those 4 indicators that are given on the first slide. Then here is the statement. Based on that, you're going to write down the balanced chemical equation, and you're going to, from the answers given, you're going to pick the balanced chemical equation. Then what type of reaction is this? Combination, decomposition, single, double. And then in the last one here, based on this balanced chemical equation, you will do the one stoichiometry problem where you need to answer. Let's say if you are starting with 2 moles of iron metal, then how many moles of copper metal will be produced? So these are your first 4 questions, and they are based on this diagram here. The next reaction that 2 students do in the lab is mixing sodium hydroxide with copper nitrate. So sodium hydroxide here, a colorless transparent solution, copper nitrate, colorless, blue transparent solution. And after you mix it, you see all these solid chunks. So here, so you will answer that in question number 5, what evidence. Question number 6 will be writing the balanced chemical equation, and question number 7 will be what type of reaction is this. Question number 7, you answer it after you're done writing the balanced equation. Look at the balanced equation and then pick one of them. Then I think the reaction 3 here in this one, what students do, they take sodium carbonate solution, colorless, transparent, in a test tube, and they add hydrochloric acid in it. And again, how does hydrochloric acid looks like? Transparent and colorless. And when they mix it, this is what they see. So look at this observation here. Look at this part, and then pick the indicator. It should be one of the ones that on the first slide. And once you're done with that, write the balanced equation. Now for the balanced equation class, I am giving you exactly what's happening. All you have to do is, based on what you learned in chapter 3 and 4, naming of ionic and covalent compounds, you write down the reactants and products first, followed by the balancing. Now in this question, once you have your balanced chemical equation, you have to answer one stoichiometry problem where it is, if you're starting with 2 moles of sodium carbonate, then how many grams of water will be produced? So this is a two-step conversion form problem, because first you're going to go from moles of sodium carbonate to moles of water, and then you will convert moles of water to grams of water. You are not submitting this assignment, you are basically answering these 10 questions under quiz lab 5 chemical reactions quiz.